Welcome back, my brave and beautiful humans, to another episode of Soul Hygiene. I'm excited to have Justin back with us. He is my regular. And when we first started this, it was, I think I just gave him the platform so that he could tell a story. He could tell everyone what he was going through, kind of, be an encouragement to other veterans. And, we've come a long way. I see that he smiles a lot more. He's growing a lot more facial hair than when we first started, so he may look a little different. But I think today we're just going to do a little catch up, see where he's been. I know he has gone through quite a few things in the last couple of months, family, personal, spiritual. So I'm just excited to hear where he's at. And this is his time. I've always allowed him as much time as he wants and for him to be vulnerable. And so I'm excited to do a little catch up. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Going well, going well. Thanks for
That's
having me.
good. Always. We're always excited to have you.
I
So what have you
appreciate
been
that.
up to?
So I the last one we did was for what, Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I pretty much decided to not go back to work. Um, like we were talking prior to this, it seemed like for the last few years, everything that I tried to, every avenue I was trying to approach, I felt like I was just running into a brick wall. Whether it was side jobs or just hustling, whatever, trying to make a living. So I just felt like I just kept falling right back in the same hole of drinking or drugs. And I just realized like I needed to take time to like really start digging in. Like, what am I supposed to do? And it's been about 40 or so days ago. I decided that that I was just praying about it. Like, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Like, why do I keep feeling like I'm just running into this wall and not going anywhere? And I was laying in bed and I just heard fast, just fast and just pray. And I'm like, okay, well that sounds like something's being I'm being told something. I'm hearing it, and it's not like it was something I was sitting there thinking about. It's like I heard somebody tell me that's what I need to do. So I told my wife, I'm like, I just felt like I was told that I need to fast. She's like, how long? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like, until I figure out what I'm meant to do with my life. and and it's the first couple of days were rough, especially the first 2 days. Didn't realize just how addicted I was to sugar and
Mm.
carbs, like the headaches, but I still had energy. I still felt good. And then I ended up doing 6 days total. And it was weird. Like I was sitting there just like praying about it, and all of a sudden I just heard like, you've had this conversation before. Like, share your stories. Just start sharing and telling people, like, so what, you can't go, you haven't been able to get on stage to speak. You don't need a stage to speak. Like, you have all these social platforms that is bigger than any stage you could ever possibly imagine. It's like, so just share your story. Let other people know that what you've been through. Let them know about your struggles, with addiction, with alcohol, with PTSD and traumatic brain injuries and nightmares, and you name it. Um, and I heard it about day 5, and I'm like, man, that's not what I wanted to hear. um, but then I got that daily devotional, and one of the days it was like he was talking about the woman in Samara or whatever at the well, and she went to the well at noon to try to avoid the whole village and found Jesus there. And he asked her to draw him some water, and says, basically tell her to go home and tell her husband. And she's like, well, I'm not married. He's like, I know, but you've been married 5 times, and the one you're with now is you're not married to. And she's like, oh my God, he knows my whole life. Well, his little lesson was that is like, he gives Kelly K. He goes, when I grew up, he said we had cassette tapes. We had side A and side B.
Yep.
Side A usually had what what the artist and what the producers thought would be the biggest hits. He said, but a lot of times side B is what actually held the biggest hit. And he's like, and life is like that. What you want to do is side A, and God's plan is side B, which is what's meant to be the big hit. And when I heard that, I was just like, well, dang, like, all right. I mean, let me just get into this. And I started focusing again on sobriety because I relapsed, and I mean now I think it's probably getting close to 2 months. It's bad when you relapse so many times you quit keeping track of the dates just because you in your head you tell yourself that it's only going to matter for a certain period of time. But this time it's like I'm done trying to do things my way. I just pray about it. I do a daily devotional. Me and my wife read it every morning. I get up at before 7, and me and my son do a 30-minute workout every morning before school, which gets the blood pumping. And I quit watching TV during the day. Like I don't even turn the TV on anymore. Just I either reading a devotional or reading another book, or I'm outside just listening to his radio, and just walking. My goal is usually to get about 10,000 steps in, before noon. Just trying to completely change everything that I've been doing. I've been in my sorrows, feeling sorry for myself, and um, like I was out there walking one day, and like I heard a poem come to me, and it's like, your life has just been like forging a knife, heating and beating and folding you over to make you strong. And I basically I've been doing it to create my perfect warrior, to have the sharpest sword on the side. Like, now go and help me and help save lives. And I was just like, well, crap, it makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, once again, you told me back in 2015 to quit, or 2014, 15, quit feeling sorry for myself, and to look at everything he's pulled me through, and to share my struggles and hardships with others to give them hope and strength to pull forward. And I just heard it again, like, quit using excuses, quit going and trying to work for somebody else to make some money. Like, you have everything you need. Yeah, you might not have all the stuff you want, but what I want you to do is more important than any belonging. And I've only been doing this since, I think it was January 29th was the first video I posted. I mean, I posted one a year ago, but it was like a video that I did for myself. Like, you're gonna make it, because I was on a bender, and I was pretty much trying to tell myself that, like, everything's gonna work out. Which, if you go to my TikTok, you'll see it. My very first one, it's pretty pathetic. Like, you could tell that I was just not in a good spot, but I was just basically telling everything to myself that I needed to hear again, like, that I've heard over the years that I just couldn't get out of my head. But starting January 29th till now, like, I've gained over, like, probably close to 2,000 followers. I'm just broke 4,000 today. And just the one video has been viewed over like 33 or 34,000 times. And I'm like, that one video has reached more people than I've ever spoke to combined. Like, other than the time of me testifying in front of Congress, which was streamed worldwide. Rather than that, me being on stage, like, I think the most I've ever done at a time would be like 2,000. And I think in one weekend I did like 3,500 at a time. Like, one story has hit 30 plus thousand people, and it's like, see, you don't need a stage. This will get you on stage, but use this time to focus on you, focus on your family, do everything I can to prepare my son for basic training this summer. Helping my daughter who decided to go back to soccer, working with her out in the yard after school, and then just spending time with my wife, where sometimes we just listen to his radio and just walk, and we don't say much of anything at all. And then there's other times that, we just have some good conversations about my recovery and about where I'm at in my headspace, and how much freedom I feel now that I've quit trying to do things my way. That I wake up every morning and I thank God that he gave me another day, and ask God for, to bring up stories, or to bring up what I need to say, and in my videos, and before I do them, pray that, hey, speak through me. Help this come in front of those that need it. Open the eyes, the ears, and the heart of those that come across it, and let your will be done through me.
I'm
And
really proud of you. I I can, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to tell you that the way that you are now compared to when we first did our first episode, I feel like you have so much more peace.
yeah,
And it's portrayed in how you speak and how, your facial expressions, or just, the comfort that you give other people. And I know in the social media world, it's very important to get followers and subscribers and all this because you reach a wider audience. But just remember that there could be one or two people that are solely affected by that. All those followers, and that's where I kind of, when I started the podcast, I had to put that in my mind. Like, it's not going to matter to me if I ever make money at this. Would I like to? Sure, everyone would, because it's a lot of time and energy. But if it helps one person and it affects one person's life,
yeah,
how much, I can't even put into words how good that would feel to know that they saw God in you, to know that you told your story, you did what God wanted you to do, and someone's life may have been saved by that, or they turned their life around, or they, decided not to be an addict. And I know that you talk about relapsing, but you always turn around. And that's what matters. It doesn't matter if you relapse. It matters what you do after that, right? So
yeah,
you just draw a line in the sand and you move forward. Then you
yeah,
leave that behind and you just go forward. So I think just listening to you speak and listening to, like, the things that have happened. And I know we talked before we started recording about, what God's done in your life. That to me is a really big blessing, because I love to see when God truly works in somebody, how much he can do in their life, and the peace that they have and the comfort that they have, and that foundation that they're now standing on. That is the hope that we give to other people, right? Because you're, in your mind, you're not a victim, you're a warrior. And
yeah.
now you can truly be that warrior for other people. So, anyway, that was my interjection.
No, and that's kind of one of the videos I did. I was like, hey, I said, stop and listen to me for a second. Like, if you're struggling with addiction, then this is for you. And I was like, leave in the comments what you're struggling with. I said, because the first step to overcoming it is admitting it. I said,
Right.
and if you're not comfortable leaving it in the comments, I'm like, send me a message, like a private message. Like, I look at them. And I posted that video, and like over the next 3 days, I wake up and I would find like a book in my messages of one girl who is an army veteran, who served in Iraq, who joined the military, like my story, joined the military to get away from drugs and abuse from, you know, family members. And she's like, and I got my shit together. And I joined the military. She's like, and I was living a dream. She's like, but I thought I had the strength and I overcame it. And I came home and went right back to the same people I was hanging out with. And she's like, and there are two people in the world that know this. You are the third person that knows this, that I am struggling with this addiction. And I was like, well, who's the other people? She's like, me and the person I do it with. And she's like, and I'm afraid of losing my son. She's like, I haven't even thought about getting sober until I came across your video.
Oh,
And now it's been like, I don't know, like when she posted it, you could see the difference in her. Like she messaged me a few different times. Like, in my first thing is like, how are you doing? She's like, I'm good, doing really good, doing better than I have been in months. She's like, and multiple times people message me like, I didn't even think about me having an addiction problem. And like, I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, or I drank, 6 or 12 pack a day, but I don't get drunk. But, and it's like, until I came across your video and you sat there and you opened up about it. And then I heard this little voice saying, oh, what are you addicted to? Oh, okay. Yeah. And then it's just been wild. Like, when you actually become vulnerable and you talk about the things that you really struggled with, what it does to somebody who doesn't even know you. And I mean,
Hmm.
most people look at me and they're like, bald headed guy, beard. I mean, I'm not small. I'm like 6'1" ish, and right now I'm at like 250. Like, got pretty broad shoulders, you know. And they people see that, and then they see me being vulnerable and sharing stuff and getting emotional because I'm like, what good has it done me all my life holding tears back and just being this manly man of an infantryman that's gone to combat and put up all these walls around me? Like, I put those walls up around me and I grow the facial hair and I look like a mean person because people stay away from me when I look like this. Damn it. I gave myself away. But
You know what I love about that though is that I think there are a lot of men who can learn from you. Because for the last, I don't know, it's been a while since I don't know, the last 10 years there's been this kind of, I don't even know, the suffocation of masculinity, right? And a man had to prove himself. He had to, you know, be this image that everyone wanted him to be. You can't cry, you can't show your emotions. And I think, excuse me, I think you looking the way you do, those big, gruff, you know, brawly man, and your, army, and everybody's intimidated. But then you tell your story and you're soft and you're genuine and you're vulnerable. I think more men need to take notice of that, and you're going to give them hope, not just the people who are addicted, not just the people who are struggling, but just maybe a man who has this wall and doesn't know how to show his emotion sees you do it. And that's another side to, telling your story and being authentic. I think in this day and age, people really are gravitating towards authenticity. They need to know that somebody else is going through what they're going through. They don't need to see someone in Hollywood or someone on TV living the lavish life that they feel like they're never going to attain. They need someone who's just like them, who struggles every single day, and tells her story. So, I mean, you're affecting more people than I think you realize in completely different ways, you know?
yeah, that's pretty much people ask me, why are you doing this? And it's like, if I can be that little guiding light, that little light, whether it's dealing with abuse or addiction or PTSD or just being completely hardened, walls up, protected against everything and everybody. If I can just be that little light that has that glow where it lights up my path just to
Yeah.
kind of help people break free, then like if I just help one, like that's huge. I mean, how many people's lives are affected by that one person? And they say that bad news travels fast, but good news travels a lot faster and it affects a lot more people. And if we focused more on healing ourselves and being that kindness and that generosity and that compassionate person instead of bickering over stuff that's out of our control or pointing fingers or dividing the right and the left, and like that doesn't do any good. All it does is cause more pent up bitterness and angerness. And it's like, just focus on being good, being positive, telling somebody they look good, holding the door open for somebody that you see, you know, or buying somebody, like, pay for somebody's meal behind you when you go through a drive through. Like, you never know of what that little act of kindness could do. But like, we just had a first sergeant that passed away, first sergeant Ottman, probably one of the best leaders that I ever served under. He just passed away from pancreatic cancer. I deployed with him both times. And his thing was always, at least once a week, do something for somebody else that they cannot ever pay you back for. Somebody you don't know, that don't know you, that you do something for them without any thought of ever being reimbursed. Like, if everybody would just do that once a week,
Yeah.
like, what effects could that have? Instead of being on social media, getting involved in these little stupid fights over what's going on with our government, which it's out of our control. There ain't nothing
That
we can
is
do
what it
about it.
is, right?
Yeah.
That's,
It's like instead of doing that, like focus on putting a smile on somebody's face.
yeah.
Focus on when you see somebody with their head down, ask them, "Hey, what's going on? You want to talk about it? Look like you're having a rough day. Like, tell me. I'll listen." You know, you just never know whose life that could possibly affect. And
My mom used to be a Sunday school teacher for many, many, many years. And the one analogy she would always tell her little, 3 to 7 year olds that she would teach is how kindness and love affect others. If you look at a matchbook and it's closed, it's dark inside. And none
yeah,
of them are touching each other. They're not affecting each other. But the second you open that matchbook and you light one match, that match lights other matches and that match lights other matches. And then all of a sudden the whole room is lit up.
yeah,
We are each an individual match. And
yeah,
that's what she would tell them. One time that you light your match, light your fire, just be a light to somebody else. That person, it could change their complete attitude and they'll be a light to someone. And it's like
yeah,
a ripple effect, skipping a rock across a lake or pond, right? You have that ripple effect. What you do in that moment, whether good or bad, unfortunately, has an effect on somebody else.
yeah,
So why not do good? Why not be kind? Why not show love? I don't understand. Even when I was going through my years of trauma, God always showed me that there was a blessing, even when I was being abused, even when I was being, you know, having those things going on. And I was always able to still be kind, still show love,
yeah. You just never know what somebody
even in the trauma. Yeah.
like somebody if somebody snaps at you, our natural response is to snap back.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that do? It's like it compounds things.
Yeah.
You never know. That person might have just been fired. That person might have just found out a loved one was in a major accident. I mean, you never know what they're going through, and them bumping into you and now you biting their head off of them. They're now wanting to turn back, and it becomes into a battle when just learn to let things roll off your shoulder and to not always respond. Sometimes just a smile
Yeah.
when you want to bite somebody's head off, just that smile could be enough where, maybe they were looking for somebody to ease their pain. Like,
And you don't ever want your response to be worse than the action
yeah.
because it's the response that people remember.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people yell at me in the grocery store and I just turn around. I'm like, I hope you have a great day. And I'll
Yeah.
just walk away because I'm not going to entertain that negativity. But I've also had like, little old ladies who are just struggling. And I'm like, hey, let me help you. And they're like, oh my goodness, I never knew there was kind people still in the world. And you hear that all the time, just opening a door and they're like surprised that someone's being kind. And that's kind of sad to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need. We need more kindness and love in the world to where it's not a rarity. It's not unique to be kind. That
Yeah.
is just something that we do.
Yeah. We talked last time, your energy becomes like a filter. So
Mhm.
you wake up and you stub your toe first thing in the morning. Now you started that morning off
Yeah.
irritated, in pain, angry because that nightstand stepped in your way when it shouldn't have. So then you have this anger filter that everything is coming through. So instead of you seeing that smile, you're now seeing it as a smirk or a smart comment type
Mhm.
thing. So just like me waking up in the mornings and just thanking God that He gave me another day and thanking Him for all the good and the bad that's happened in my life. Um, and like the book I was reading, he says, just thank God just say thank you. And somebody's like, well, what do I say thank you for if I have nothing to be thankful for? Well, thank Him for everything that He hasn't let happen in your life. Um, that was another video that it's like, be grateful for everything you do have
Mhm.
and don't have, because
Yeah.
a long time I was wanting money, wanting this, trying to make a living and making all this extra money. And like in the video I talk about, I'm like, and he didn't give it to me. And I'm glad he didn't, because you know what I went and done with it? I would have went and bought drugs. I went and got alcohol. I would have been gotten drunk and numb. And it's like, focus on what you do have and just start your day off with that. And then it's like it puts this filter on of gratitude, of being happy, of being joyful, and then you put a smile on your face. It puts smiles on other people's faces because they see it, and it's like you said, a ripple effect. And then,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
so
it's
true.
crazy.
It's so true because I know, you know, every single one of us are going to relapse at one point, right? Whether it be having a down day, you know, succumbing to our addiction or whatever it may be. We're all going to have bad days. We
Yeah,
just have to know that we don't have to stay there. And having gratitude and being thankful, I found in my life is one of those things that snaps me back out of it.
yep.
Because and sometimes people are like, "Oh, you're only like that because you have major health issues." Well, no, I'm like that because I'm a miracle.
Yep.
Because even beyond those major health issues, beyond the trauma, I have a purpose. And to
People that
know
have that comment are people that are trying to find excuses of not why their life's not the way it should be.
exactly,
You're
yeah,
only doing that because you have this thing. Like, no, you have a choice.
yeah,
Like,
I
make
like,
that choice.
thank you for saying that. You just took the words right out of my mouth. That was my next couple of, you're reading my mind here. No, I know that's completely true though, because the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I thank God for opening my eyes. I
Yep.
don't know, no one knows if they have tomorrow. You should be grateful that you have today. And
Yep.
gratitude is one of those things that can completely change your mindset. When I
Yep.
was on that precipice of like, what's the other word besides suicide? Unaliving myself because YouTube doesn't like the other word. Um, that was one thing that brought me out of that was being grateful that God brought me out of the trauma, that I still had time. I still had something to do. And then for him to show me that purpose that every single day, I'm like, hey, even though I am completely overwhelmed every single day, that's okay. Because being overwhelmed means God has given me a purpose and he has given me something to do. And I'm alive to do it.
Yep. Yeah, you're
So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the things, like, people say, well, why are things so hard? Well, things are so hard because there's clearly an evil force that doesn't want you to have it well. The harder your life is means that the bigger change you're going to make in the world, and that's the reason why the devil is bashing you, because he is so afraid of the change and the difference you're going to make in people's lives that he is throwing everything in the book at you to try to
Mm-hmm.
stop you and keep you stuck in your place.
Yeah.
And like a video I came across, was like, with coming to addiction, and this is one of those things that like really opened my eyes, was quit looking at addiction as the problem. Look at it as your solution. The drugs weren't, that's not what you're using the drugs to do what? To numb the pain, to not have to be present, to not have to feel all the emotions and relive everything. So I would constantly be drunk and constantly be high. So I wouldn't focus on that. And once I started thinking about it, like you have a bad day at work, what's usually the first thing you want to do when you come home? You want to
Mm-hmm.
have a glass of wine, drink some beer, whatever, have a couple of shots. Why? Because you had a hard day at work. Or first thing happens when people die. Well, they want to go and they want to drink a few to try to numb it instead of just feeling it. And like the saying I've been told for years is you got to feel to heal. The more you just keep trying to numb it, the more you're going to continue to keep trying to numb it because you don't want to have them feelings. Um, and yeah, it's just a wild journey. It's amazing what God does to you when you actually start praying and listening and focusing on what He wants you to do instead of what you want to do.
Yeah. And when we feel and we heal, that's when we can give hope to others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. People around you, they know, people that you're close to, they know what you've been through and what you have gone through, like, and what battles you fought. And it's like, and they, even though they might not say anything, but they're like, man, wow, this person's been through a lot of hell and they're still smiling. Like, what can I take away
What's
from this?
yeah.
What is how have you gone through all this crap and you still have a smile on your face and you're still uplifted and kind and polite to everybody? Like, I didn't get the pay raise and I'm pissed off at the world, type thing. And then I came home and got drunk because of it. But it's like,
Hmm.
be that positive example, and people around you will start noticing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to cut out a lot of people to get to your place, but you heal yourself first. Like they say in the airplane, put your mask on first, because if you're unconscious, you can't help anybody else.
It's true. That is true. I think that is a great way to end the show, because I always use the phrase fill your cup first, because you can't fill somebody else's cup if yours is empty.
Yeah,
It's the same premise, you know. How can you, what do they always say? You can't love somebody else unless you love yourself,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So there, that is so true. And I love that we're ending the show there, because those are just some real words to live by. And I'm so, so proud of you. I'm just so happy, like, just to see you smiling and, being at peace and just finding what life has for you, that to me is just, that's such a blessing to me. So I always appreciate you coming on and giving hope to our listeners, but we're going to have a follow up. This is 2025. So I'm expecting big things from you. And
You've
I
made it
know
this
they're
far in
coming.
the show. Follow and like the page,
We're,
and leave comments on things you're interested in that we can talk further about. We forgot to
it's
do that
so
earlier.
it's so funny. That's kind of our little thing we were talking before we started recording. And I'm like, I always forget to tell people to, if you like what you heard, like and subscribe, follow the show. I'm on Instagram and all these places. I never say that. And thank you for doing that for me. I
A little
appreciate
late in the show, but hey,
it. Hey,
better late than never.
we got it in there. So, and Mr. Justin has a TikTok, so please go follow him too. Tell them what your TikTok is so they can go.
uh, Justin Miller _ OZ.
So
And
Justin Miller _ OZ on TikTok. Please go follow him. Trust me, you listen to him, he's going to give you hope to get through your day and get through your years. So thank you so much, my friend, for being here with us again. We will
yeah,
do
thank
this
you for
again
having me.
soon. Of course, I'm always blessed by you. So, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Soul Hygiene. We'll see you later.